Have you ever stopped to think about what really goes into electing the leadership for a major professional body? Especially one as critical as logistics and transport. It's actually, well, it's a lot more detailed and maybe more fascinating than you might first imagine. Today, we're taking a real deep dive into the official guidelines and the timetable for the 2025 National Council elections of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, Nigeria, CILT, Nigeria.
Yeah, and we've actually got the official documents right here, the guidelines, the proposed timetable. Our goal really is to walk through these, pull out the key bits, who can run, who gets a vote, how does this whole thing actually work? From like the first call for nominations right up to the new leaders taking office.
And honestly, this isn't just about CILT, Nigeria. It's a fantastic window into governance, into transparency, and the incredibly detailed requirements they set for leadership in a professional institute like this. You're definitely going to get some useful insights into how these robust processes work, how they try to ensure integrity and competence, things we often just don't see. So let's get into it.
Okay, so first off, just to set the scene, these are the elections for the CLL Nigeria National Council. This is the main leadership group for the logistics and transport profession in Nigeria. And what jumps out immediately is just how many positions there are and how specific they are.
It really is quite something. We're talking 12 specific elective offices.
Yeah.
You got the big ones, of course, president, deputy president, then the regional VPs, north, west, east. But then it gets really granular with representatives for maritime, rail, road, air, even pipeline, plus a dedicated supply chain and logistics role. And I think this is really noteworthy, a diversity and inclusion representative specifically for female members. That shows a real commitment to broad representation, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. A critical point. And these elections happen every 2 years, biennially. The guidelines allow for them to be physical or virtual. If they're physical, it's a secret ballot. But the key thing for accessibility is that the voting itself is planned to be online, using a secure electronic system for all members.
Which immediately brings up that balancing act, right?
Yeah.
Making it easy for everyone to vote versus keeping it totally secure.
Exactly. And overseeing all of this, making sure the rules are followed, is an independent election committee. Now, this committee is set up by the council, but crucially, it's made up of 7 members who are up to date with their finances. And none of them can be current council members or actually running in the election.
Ah, so they're meant to be impartial overseers, like
Ooh.
guardians of the process.
That's the idea, yeah. To scrutinize nominations, ensure everyone follows the rules, it's a built-in check.
Sounds pretty robust.
It's designed to be. And that leads us straight into the requirements for anyone who actually wants to run, who can contest.
Oh, and they are thorough. Let's start with the general requirements that apply to everyone, no matter the position. First up, character and skill. You need proven integrity, administrative skills, experience. But here's a fascinating bit. You need a demonstrated capacity to serve without expectation of pecuniary rewards or remuneration.
That's huge. It's not just about saving the Institute money. It fundamentally frames the motivation for seeking office. It suggests leadership should be about service, about the profession, not about getting paid. That's quite different from, say, political roles.
A really key distinction. And it's not just about character. Your financial relationship with the Institute matters a lot. Candidates must have paid their national subscription and their branch dues for 3 straight years, 3 consecutive years, including the election year itself, plus the conference fees for the National Conference AGM in that election year.
Right, so it demonstrates consistent commitment. You're not just showing up at election time. You've been financially supporting the Institute.
Precisely. Then there's the nomination process itself. It's quite formal. You have to fill out and submit the official election nomination form by July 30th, 2025. And this isn't just self-declaration. It needs to be signed by your branch chairman.
And if you're already a national officer, the national president has to sign off too, so there's a sort of internal vetting there.
Exactly. And then you need sponsors. 2 financial members have to nominate and sponsor you. One of these sponsors must be from your own branch.
And importantly, these sponsors need to be senior members themselves, either a chartered member, CILT, or a fellow, FCILT. So it requires endorsement from established professionals within the Institute. And naturally, you can't nominate yourself.
Makes sense. Beyond the paperwork and finances, they want to see active engagement, real involvement. Candidates need to have attended at least 2 annual national conferences in the 3 years just before the election year.
And attending an international CILT conference is seen as a plus, a bonus point. This really pushes for leaders who are actually present and participating in the Institute's main events.
Definitely. And you need to show you've actually contributed to institute activities in a recognizable way. If you're already an officer, nationally or at branch level, you need proof of measurable and verified milestones.
So, accountability. You have to show you actually achieved something in your previous role. It's not just about holding a title.
Right. And then there are term limits, a really important governance feature. If you're on the outgoing council and you've held an elective national council spot for 3 terms, which is 6 years total,
6 years, yeah.
then you're not eligible to run for another office in that election.
This prevents people from staying in national power indefinitely, encourages new blood, though it's worth noting this specific rule doesn't apply to branch chairs or the special interest group reps. Their elections are often handled a bit differently.
Okay, so it's focused on turnover at that top national level.
Good to know.
Now let's talk about the really top jobs, president and deputy president.
Yeah.
The requirements get even tougher there.
They certainly do. Minimum grade required, Fellow of the Institute, FCILT, that's the highest grade. You need to have been an active member for at least 4 years, and this has to be verifiable through both your branch and the National Secretariat.
4 years active. It's a significant history with the Institute.
And attendance requirements are higher, too. At least 2 annual national conferences in the preceding 3 years, plus attendance at a minimum of 4 national activities, things like their MPDP training, within the last 3 years, including the election year.
Wow, 4 national activities on top of the conferences.
And you must have held a leadership position before, either inside CIL or in another recognized organization. They want proven leaders.
Okay. What about the regional vice presidents, north, east, west? Still pretty senior roles.
Similar profile, but slightly less intense. They also need to be fellows, FCA-elect. Active membership requirement is at least 3 years, verifiable.
Okay, 3 years instead of 4.
And attendance. Again, at least 2 annual national conferences in the last 3 years. But for national activities, it's at least 3 within the past 3 years, not 4. Still substantial.
Still a high bar, definitely.
Yeah.
And for the other national offices, like the modal representatives, air, rail, etc.
For those, the minimum grade drops slightly to chartered member, CM-ILT. Active membership needed is at least 2 years, verifiable.
2 years,
with
bro.
attendance. At least 1 annual national conference in the previous 2 years, and at least 2 national programs like MPDP within the last 2 years.
And crucially, I remember this. If you're running for a mode representative role, say maritime.
Yes, you absolutely must have relevant cognate experience in that specific mode. You can't just be a generalist wanting the title. You need actual background in maritime or rail or whatever it is. Ensures real expertise.
Makes perfect sense. You want the air rep to actually know something about aviation logistics.
Precisely.
So, okay, those are the hoops candidates have to jump through. How does CLTS actually manage this whole process? The timeline must be critical.
Oh, it's incredibly detailed. A real step-by-step plan. Let's walk through it using their timetable. It all officially kicks off with the call for nominations and the election notice on Wednesday, July 9th, 2025. That's the starting gun.
Okay, July 9th, and the nomination period itself.
Starts the very next day, Thursday, July 10th. Forms become available then at branches and online. And candidates need to get their completed forms, plus their CV and their action plan, submitted by Wednesday, August 20th, 2025.
August 20th deadline. And the guidelines mention that it has to be at least a month before the election day itself.
Correct. That buffer is needed for the next stage. Screening and verification by that election committee we mentioned. That runs from August 21st to the 27th. They check all those eligibility points we just covered.
Then what? How do people find out if they made the cut?
Transparency here. On Friday, August 29th, they publish a provisional list of cleared candidates. And just as importantly, anyone not on the list is formally notified so they know they didn't make it through screening.
And what if someone thinks they were wrongly excluded? Is there an appeal?
Yes, there's a specific window for appeals and resolution of screening complaints. It runs from August 30th to September 4th.
Okay, a 7-day window. Tight, but it's there.
Exactly. Due process. After dealing with any appeals, the final list of candidates is published on Saturday, September 6th. That's it, the official list.
Got it. So by early September, everyone knows who is officially running.
Right. And then, a really interesting step. Candidates have to present and defend their action plans by Sunday, September 7th. This has to be done about a month before the election. It's their chance to really lay out their vision.
That seems vital for voters, moving beyond just names and qualifications to actual plans.
Absolutely. Now, running alongside this is the process for finalizing who can vote. The Provisional Voters Register comes out on Monday, September 8th. This is based on who's paid up their subs and dues.
And presumably there's a chance to fix errors here too.
Yes, a correction objection window from September 8th to the 12th for any mistakes or omissions. Then, the final voters register is published on Saturday, September 13th, and the rules are strict.
No complaints about the voter list after this date. It's locked in.
Okay, final candidates list, September 6th, final voters list, September 13th. Clear deadlines.
Very clear. And that brings us to the campaign itself. The official campaign period runs from September 7th, right after the action plan defense deadline, until September 18th.
But didn't the guidelines have some really strict rules about campaigning?
Extremely strict. Absolutely no financial inducements, no giving money or gifts, and a total ban on negative campaigning, no spreading negative info or using derogatory language about opponents.
In any media at all, like even WhatsApp.
Any media. Newspapers, online messaging apps, social media, completely banned. They state only presenting your action plan and using posters is okay. No branded giveaways either, before or on Election Day.
Wow. That's quite different from many elections we see. It really forces a focus on substance. It seems designed to keep things professional and focused on the Institute's future, not on personal attacks. A deliberate cultural choice, I think.
Okay, so campaign ends September 18th. Then what?
Then there's a cooling off period. Campaigning is banned again starting Friday, September 19th. No last-minute pushes the day before.
A quiet day before the vote. And Election Day itself.
Saturday, September 20th, 2025. Voting runs from 8:30 in the morning until 6:00 in the evening, and it's all online.
Online voting. And results. When do people find out?
Same day. The returning officer announces the results on Saturday, September 20th. Once the votes are counted, it's decided by simple majority. If there's a tie, they have a second ballot.
Quick and decisive. And the final step.
The formal transition. The outgoing council is dissolved, and the newly elected council officers are sworn in at the annual general meeting, the AGM, on October 23rd, 2025.
October 23rd. So a clear endpoint to the whole cycle. It really is a meticulously planned process from July to October.
It absolutely is a very detailed roadmap, which naturally leads to the other side of the coin. Who actually gets to vote in this election?
Right. We know who can run, but who decides? Let's talk voter eligibility.
Okay. The baseline is any member holding the grade of MILT member of the Institute of Logistics and Transport can vote.
But there's always a but.
Yeah, yes. Provided they've paid their national subscription fees and their branch dues for the election year, and they're properly registered. Financial standing is key for voters, too.
And there was a point about MILT grade members, wasn't there? They can vote.
But they cannot run for a national office themselves. That requires CILT or FCIL.
Okay, so there's a distinction there. What about other member types?
Affiliate members and student members are explicitly not qualified to vote or to be voted for. The election is for the core professional membership.
So it really comes down to the MILTs, CMILTs, and FCILTs who are financially current.
Precisely. Those are your voters. Chartered fellows, FCLL, and chartered members, CLL, can, of course, vote and run for office, assuming they meet all the other criteria.
And how does the voting actually work on the day?
It's universal suffrage among those eligible members. Everyone who qualifies gets a vote. Accreditation is purely based on that final voters register, which confirms they've paid their fees.
And no voting for someone else, no proxy votes.
Strictly forbidden, no proxy votes. It has to be the individual member casting their own vote. Though, interestingly, the guidelines do explicitly state that a member can vote for themselves if they are also a candidate.
Ah, okay, that clarifies that point. Good to know.
And again, that final voter register published on September 13th, it's absolutely conclusive. No arguments about eligibility after that point.
Finality is a recurring theme here. Lock things down, move forward.
Seems to be the principle. Now, to protect the integrity of all this, there's also a pretty stark list of disqualification criteria, things that will get a candidate removed.
The big red flags, what tops the list?
Well, the catch-all first. Any violation of the election guidelines leads to automatic disqualification. Full stop.
Okay, broad but clear. What are some specific examples?
Financial influence is a major one. Getting sponsorship or financial help or any kind of inducement from government bodies, local, state, federal, is banned. Same goes for help from political groups, other CLA team members acting improperly, organizations, or companies.
Right, trying to keep the election purely internal and independent.
Exactly. And any attempt by the candidate to induce members, financially or otherwise, to vote for them is also grounds for immediate disqualification.
And we already touched on the negative campaigning ban.
Yes, but it's worth reiterating as a disqualification trigger. Sponsoring, directly or indirectly, any negative information or using offensive language against opponents in any media format, that's a disqualification.
They are really doubling down on keeping the campaign clean and focused on merit.
It certainly appears so. Then there are more administrative or integrity-based disqualifiers, like failing to pay your subs and dues before you even submit your nomination form. That's an instant out.
So you have to be in good standing from the very start.
Yep. And if either of your sponsors isn't actually qualified, like not financially current or not the right grade, when they endorse you, that can disqualify you too.
Hmm. So you need to check your sponsors carefully.
Definitely. And then the more serious personal integrity issues, being bankrupt or having arrangements with creditors, having a criminal record, being certified mentally unfit by a medical professional, or having been convicted of a crime, or even just indicted by a disciplinary committee for some offense or professional misconduct.
Okay, those are pretty standard integrity checks for leadership roles, ensuring sound character.
They cover quite a range, yeah.
So, practically speaking, how do candidates submit these nomination forms and that appeal process if they're disqualified?
Right, logistics. Forms are available physically at branch offices, but also online from the Secretariat, making them accessible. Submission needs to be in a sealed envelope, clearly marked Election Committee 2025, and addressed to a specific person, the chairperson of the committee, at a physical address in Ikoyi, Lagos.
Sealed envelopes. But is there an electronic option too?
Yes, thankfully. They also allow submission by email to two specific addresses listed in the guidelines. One is the chair's email, copied to another key contact. That adds flexibility.
Good. And the appeal. If someone gets disqualified on, say, August 29th?
They have exactly 7 days from when they're notified of the disqualification to lodge an appeal with the election committee, and the committee, in turn, has to review that appeal and make its final decision public within 7 days of receiving it.
So a quick turnaround again. Keeps the overall timeline on track.
That seems to be the aim. Resolve issues quickly and definitively.
You know, looking back at everything we've just discussed, these guidelines for the CILT Nigeria elections are just incredibly detailed, from attendance records and financial standing to very specific campaign rules and timelines. The level of foresight is remarkable.
It really is. It highlights a very strong commitment to ensuring the integrity of the process, but also the competence and the active involvement of the people who end up leading the institute.
Yeah, every single step feels carefully considered, trying to ensure fairness, transparency, and a focus on qualified, dedicated leadership.
Exactly. From making sure candidates have a verifiable track record, to the strict financial rules, to banning negative attacks, it paints a picture of an organization that takes its governance very seriously.